Okay. It is now being reported that he's on watch in jail to ensure that he doesn't off himself or harm himself. Uh, do you feel like that's something that they did based on his character? Because I know you've said for many months now that the only reason he wouldn't go to jail is if he did something like that. Or is this kind of standard procedure for somebody of his stature going from a billionaire status to being into a prison where you have no control over anything? Is that kind of standard, or do you think it's based solely on him and his character?
It's a little bit of both, but they do have doctors coming around talking to you. They have officers. That's the first thing I remember when I went in. They ask you those questions: how you feeling, what you thinking, and so they do have shrinks that they do have come around and talk to you. So if they put him on that particular watch, then that means that one of those doctors feel that he was talking nonsense or talking that way and felt like they needed to to isolate him. Now he may think it's smarter being funny, but trust me, that's a bad decision. Trust me, y'all. General Pop is much better than being in the shoe, and definitely better than being on that watch. On that watch, they usually have a senior officer, maybe like a sergeant or above, watching over you, and then they have inmates standing around who it's their job to watch you in a padded room, where you can't do anything. They put you in this look. It's like an outfit that's like white, and it's like I forget what they call them, but it's like a piece of plastic. So you freezing like a motherfucker. You cold, you shivering. They don't give you no major mats or anything. It's the worst condition you can be on if they put you on that particular watch. So, and with him going through the withdrawals, y'all just don't know if all of this stuff is true. And y'all know a lot of stuff get reported don't actually be true or factual and stuff. But if it is true, he's having it the way all us Tupac fans and stuff want him to have it right now. He is having worst days of his life. Victims are getting, if y'all believe in an eye for eye type stuff, then victims are getting their justice. Because number one, the cold alone is killing you. Because that's what the officers do. They'll turn that air up to mess with you, and it also to keep germs out. You ever go to a hospital or places like that, you know there's always real cold in there. It's because they're trying to keep those germs from floating around. But mainly, and then most officers are just assholes, and they know how cold it is, and they're trying to treat you like shit. So that would be my take about that particular thing. But I'm one that believes that they should put him in a shoe. But once he gets in there and dudes from his neighborhood start telling him, all right, we got 4 or 5 guys that's going to look out. You're going to look out, and they feel that they got enough people, they got enough money on people's books and stuff like that to look out for him, then he going to be all right. He going to be all right. Now, him personally not going to feel like going that route until everything start happening. Y'all got to remember, they put on that indictment a charge where they can make it a criminal enterprise, where they try to take all his money. I always make little quacks about Suge and all of that, but I was just telling somebody the other day, I give Suge a pass for how he was acting. I think it was White 100, because he was talking about how he was doing this and doing that. I said, I give him a pass for that smoking and drinking a lot and all of that, because the stress of losing $100 million company and worth and all of that, we don't know how that feels. And so y'all got to remember, Puffy was almost at least 500 million strong worth of, people say a billionaire. I don't believe that, but he had enough money. And to go to start losing that and not to be able to touch that and to get to that plays a part on you guys. The lawyer going to drain you out of that. Y'all going to be hearing about a lot of assets and Puffy poor daughters that just knew they had a great life ahead of themselves and all them, the twins and people like that, and his sons Justin and and then and then Wolf's son and Al B. Shore's son. They all life is about to change, and when you see the disappointment, in them when they stand you and his mom. I'm sure she going to start having some health conditions that she never had. When you see that those people and they coming up there visiting you and all of that, that's what's going to eat him up, and that's when you have to worry about him not being able to face life and wanting to go to maybe the afterlife. And so, but not at this point. Right now, his attorneys are telling him all the right things. They're telling him what they're going to do and all of the great plans that they have for him. Because as long as he's cutting no checks and no checks are clear, they're going to drain your ass. They're going to drain you. And he may go through some because he's going to see it. But you don't get rid of one until you got another one in line. And this is what attorneys know what to do. And this is what they're going to do. They are not your friends. They're there to put their kids through law school or whatever other type of school there is.
Okay, being that he does have funds, that he does have money, outside of, if it goes the route where he is taking care of people for protection or whatever, outside of that, what can his money buy him that will comfort him in jail or in prison at this time? Because correct me if I'm wrong, but until he's convicted, will he stay in jail or in jail? Can you buy things? Can you buy yourself a TV? Can you buy yourself these extra foods? Can you break down a little bit about what he can and can't do for himself with the funds that he has, both where he is now and if he gets convicted later in prison?
Yeah. What it'll cost him to live in prison is nothing compared to what he was used to spending per day, on the streets. Trust me. I mean, dudes in there are going to move for him for anywhere between $500 to $1,000 a month on their books. And you just have people sending money on the books to people. I mean, that dude that's they call them contracts. The dude that got the cook in there, and they're going to be snitching on each other because they're going to be knowing, shit, Glenn getting $1,000 for cooking for Puffy. Michael getting this just for walking the tracks with him and all that. And they're going to be snitching and trying to get them rolled up and being like, I'm tougher than him. I'm better than him. And so those contracts is going to be big. But if Puffy just putting $5,000 a month on niggas' books, that ain't shit to him. That's what he spent on the car service that particular day, driving him around New York or at a hotel room. So that ain't gonna bother him at all. As I always tell y'all, it doesn't cost much for you to live in jail. What usually costs you is you worrying about people on the streets. That's why I always talk about Suge Knight. I don't want him doing no book deals or no movie deals or nothing like that until he gets home. And because right now all he gonna be doing is giving money to his, to his girls, his woman, and then they all gonna be living good. I always say, save your story, dog. Wait till you still got another life. Suge will be out of jail at age 70. He has, even Puffy, if he gets 20 years, he would be out of jail at age 70. You have to do about 16, 17 years on a 20-year sentence. Now, a lot of y'all going to be talking about, well, the First Step Act, and that's what the attorney's going to be telling me. First Step Act, you can get out of prison because now you're over 50, you get half time. Well, not for sex crimes. And so I hope he gets with a person that knows sentencing, because attorneys don't know those BOP laws. They know the criminal laws. He got to get with somebody, and Puff, if any of your people are listening, tell them, teach you about the BOP laws, the things that can get you out, because that's the type of deals you want to plead out to. You don't want to be pleading out the shit with guns and sex crimes and all of that stuff and shit where they can take your money, uh, because they made you a criminal enterprise. Because generally, a prosecutor, all they want to get is the years. You want to plead out the stuff that where you can save your empire, where you can go to programs and work and get, the First Step Act, the 50% off because you're over 50% age 50 and not do 85% of your time. Because that's a big difference. 50% of your time versus 85% of your time, that's a big difference. But there's a lot of crimes that you won't be eligible for. But the answer to your question, John, because I know it went away from your question a little bit, is it's not going to cost much for him to live in prison. That they will move for him for a lot more. That shot caller, because they got a shot caller, they got a guy that's doing the kitchen, and they're going to have 2 or 3 guys that will walk around with him and go everywhere he goes. That going to look out. So he ain't going to have to put no more than money on the books for about 5 or 6 different people. And I'm telling you, that's cheap. When I was in prison, all they would allow us to do was spend $300 a month for commissary. When I first went in, you could spend a little bit more, but then they made it where you can only spend, I think, $50 a week or something like that. So what you do, and then y'all that was looking out for me, that was real close to me, y'all know what y'all was doing, you put money on other dudes' books, and then they go shop for you, and you just buy them a little bit of stuff. So that's how you live in there to make sure that you're good. Is, you give a nigga $100 and tell him, all right, nigga, you buy $50 worth of stuff for me, $50 stuff for you. That's how it generally works. And that's the type of stuff he's going to be doing. He's going to learn and adjust. He's going to get burned by a couple of niggas that's just busters, bitch ass niggas, just like on the streets. You got niggas that's just in them. But then you cut those motherfuckers off. And you get some real people in there. And there's some real dudes in there that just trying to live and survive. And so that's all his money is going to be doing. Where his money is going to mainly be ate up is by 1, attorneys, and 2, people on the street that coming up there making no business for you that you feel as though you have to take care of. When hopefully he would just put his money, set up a trust for each one of his kids, because that's all I'll be worrying about. If I had a wife, I don't think Puffy has a wife, but I had a wife, I'll be looking out for my wife and my kids and whatever my parents need. After that, you got to start cutting people off. You got to start cutting people off. And you need that one assistant or that runner that's going to still do stuff for you and make sure they good. But his life, he's going to, if he doesn't lose his money in the, he's going to save money per year. He's going to realize how cheap it is to live versus how he was spending money to live. Yes.